Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Fatima. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know that I'm all about sustainability. Over the last year and a half, I have built strong pillars for you all to understand, adapt, and fulfill your journey. And it's all about sustainability, y'all, mentally, financially, and career. A brief teaching moment for you guys before I introduce my special guest. Financial sustainability. How do we prepare our youth beyond scholarships? How do we weave the intersection of mental, career, and financial sustainability? So we're going to answer all those questions today. We can call him a coach. We can call him my mentor. We can call him a pillar of society. But I call him Coach Roy. Norman Coach Roy Washington, y'all. He is the founder and executive director of Athletes Get Recruited Incorporated, 501c3. It's a nonprofit organization founded in 2007 to educate, prepare, and expose student athletes to college opportunities. A U.S. Air Force veteran, thank you for your services, entrepreneur,
Welcome.
author, longtime coach, Coach Roy has dedicated his life, y'all, to helping underserved families understand the recruitment process with NCAA eligibility, NIL opportunities, the transfer portal, academic requirements, and of course, life after sports. Y'all, his mission is very, very simple. No athlete should lose a scholarship because they lacked information. Athletes Get Recruited Foundation serves families throughout Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia because we have yielded great benefits from Athletes Get Recruited and all the mentorship and coaching that Coach Roy has provided to the Nashes. So with that said, Coach Roy, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Again, thank you, Fatima. I'm Coach Norman Roy Washington. I'm a parent. I'm an author, as she said earlier. And at the end of the day, I just want to see our youth be productive citizens. Sports is just the angle that we use since our youth are so interested in sports. And a lot of times it's just a lot of misleading information out there. I'm a 60s baby. So when I finished school, we didn't have things such as the NCAA clearinghouse, NCAA eligibility. If you could play, they would find a way to get you in school. However, they may put you in a gym class, you learn nothing. And there's a small percentage of people that actually makes the NFL. But what I love about what I do and what we do is that we help educate the parent. We like to start at the 7th and 8th grade, help them to understand their educational requirements. We don't really put a lot of emphasis on coaching, training, and things of that nature, even though we have an excellent trainer, Coach Archie. Our emphasis is helping the parent and student understand how to navigate the academic side of getting an athletic scholarship. And in doing so, we help them to understand the core course requirement that the NCAA looks at. We help them understand how correct situations and grade replacement, whatever the case may be, course replacement, in order to qualify. We also take them on college visits so that they can get away from their environment and understand that there is a whole world out there. You'd be surprised of the youth that have never been outside of their city, never been to a college football game, never been into a college locker room, never been on a college visit. So those are the things that we do so that they can have the exposure to want to go.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, I heard it a little bit and I know a little bit of it, but I would love for the audience to take a deep dive into your why. We're all driven by our why and our purpose. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit about your story on why you have been relentless in driving success and sustainability through athletes, especially from 7th grade on up. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I come from a very athletic family. Sports is a big part of our family. I had two boys to play college football, Division I football, and there was a situation in 2006 where a young man, probably the best athlete in the state of South Carolina at that time, probably could have gone to 20, 30 different schools. and he ended up not going to school. And on signing day, I was anxious to see where he was going to commit, and he wasn't present. And I needed to know why. And when I found out why, it really crushed me because I know the effort and the time and everything that this young man had put into playing football and going to college. And I realized that after talking with the coach, there was something called the at that time it was called NCAA Clearinghouse. And what that is the NCAA, in order for you to accept an athletic scholarship, you have to sign up, and the NCAA gets the student athlete's transcript, and they're looking for the core courses, the English, math, science, history, and foreign language. And they only look at those courses, and they need to average a 2.3. That sounds low. However, you talk to the average parent, their kid have an overall 2.9, 3.0. You take away the electives, and they're probably a 2.3, 2.1, 2.2, which makes them a non-qualifier. That's what most people don't understand. So just saying my child is a 2.9, 3.0, when they're in that range, that's when I get concerned. So then we get the transcript. We talk to the parent, we talk to the student so that they'll know what they need to do to be a qualifier. Well, again, my why is because this young man did not get to attend college. And it was because of a simple matter. Earlier in his life, maybe in the, I don't know, second, third, I know it was in elementary school, he repeated a grade. But now in high school, he's a good student. He actually has good grades. Well, he decides after his second year of high school that he's going to take an extra English, and that will qualify him to graduate with his class. Unfortunately, his parents was unaware of the NCAA stating that you need, I'm going to use an example, 3 maths, and it starts with algebra 1. So traditionally after algebra 1 comes geometry, then algebra 2. Well, that's your 3 maths. Well, he did not go into the ninth grade taking algebra 1. So when he took algebra 1 the sophomore year, geometry the junior year, but he made it his senior year, he was 1 course short. And it was for that reason he was not able to go on to get the athletic scholarship. And it put him in a position that he would have to probably go to a prep school or go to junior college. And that's not a scholarship.
Right. Right.
And unfortunately, the difference of the money that was necessary, his mother wouldn't be able to afford. So that young man missed an opportunity. And later on, a few years later, he got into some trouble with the law. But at that point, I knew that there was a need. And the more I talked with other parents, they weren't aware of the NCAA. I talked with coaches from other high school because I coached myself for years. And I contacted other coaches that coached with me. None of us was aware of this little loophole that started in 2001. Okay, so now with that being said, I just took it upon myself to just start on my own spare time talking about the NCAA clearinghouse, exposing it to parents. People would call me who find in their senior year that they have a situation. So I would study the rules and figure out the loopholes, grade replacement, online courses. But every year the NCAA kept changing the rules and tightening up. Until this day, they change. Every year, it's some subtle change. And a lot of times you don't realize how it's going to affect the students until it do. And then that's when you say, well, okay, what's the workaround for that? So yeah, that's my why. I want to see these kids get out of their community, have the opportunity to get an education and be a productive citizen. And the beautiful thing is, over the years, I've had kids to leave home one semester. They leave in August, go off to college, find out there's more to college than just sports, end up deciding that college is not for them and they don't love the sport as much as they thought they did, and they come back home. But when they come back home, it's different. It's not the same. You've been exposed. You've seen too much. Now you know that it's other things out there. So even though they didn't go and finish and get a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree, they still come back home and be productive. They're not doing the things that they were doing before they left, or what their family is doing, or what their friends are doing. They still come back and be productive. And it just makes me happy.
That's wonderful. So I want to go back to those who may be novice to NCAA. or NCAA clearinghouse. Could you talk to us a little bit about what NCAA is and what they govern in the area of sports and academics?
Well, they're the governing authority for college athletics. They make the rules, what your SAT score requirement is. I like to say that there's three tiers when it comes to graduating from high school that leads into going to college. You got the what is required for you to graduate from high school per state. That's the minimum. Then you have what is required for you to participate in college athletics. That's what the NCAA governs.
Okay.
Then you have the academic student, what is required to go to school academically, which is the highest bar. Okay. So the NCAA set the standard because there were too many people testifying in Washington at the Senate that they went to school for 4 years. A lot of Hall of Fame guys, and they couldn't read or write. Yes. One of in your area up there, the Hall of Famer for the Redskins, Dexter Manley. You can Google it. So they had to do something.
Right.
Because the chances of you making pro is not even 1%.
Right.
When you look at the numbers.
Education is important. And the sports, it could be a vehicle. I was just talking to my student athlete this weekend. And I grew up with not a lot of access. And I remember thinking, I'm 6 years old thinking, oh, I want to go to college, but I know I'm not going to be able to afford it. I wish someone would pay for me to go to school. I didn't even know that was a thing. Do you understand what I'm telling you? In 1986, I didn't even know that someone could actually pay me to go to their school and wear their logo and be respectful and carry out the rules to represent the schools. And I never, ever, 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 ever thought that was a possibility. And now fast forward, I don't know, 40 years later, and my kid and my kid coming after him will be also going through this process. So it is for parents out there that are not familiar with college recruitment and not familiar with athletics and college recruitment, please, please, please listen closely to what Athletes Get Recruited Foundation offers. We're going to talk about that right now so that you guys can have an understanding about how to gain access and how to build community around this. So, Coach Roy, talk to me a little bit about you guys' process and how you guys support directly. A lot of this work is through philanthropy, donations. And so talk to us a little bit about your infrastructure and how you support these students and families.
Well, again, we're 501c3, so we accept donations and we do different fundraisers. We do a golf tournament, the fight against crime and domestic violence, as well as we have an ongoing fundraiser now where we're doing a $7 raffle for a $500,000 home. And the drawing will be Veterans Day, November the 11th at 5 o'clock. But our process is we want to help all athletes, regardless of race, regardless of athletic ability. See, most people are looking for the guys. I don't know if you're familiar with the term 5-star, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to say your elite athlete that's always in the newspaper, invited to all the big Nike events, Under Armour events, and everyone know about them and chasing them down. Okay, yeah, we'll help those athletes as well because with all that notoriety, all of that potential, they may never play a day of professional sports. That's the reality of it. And we're still talking about an 18-year-old. We're still talking about someone, regardless of how, whether they're middle class, underprivileged, or wealthy, we're still talking about those individuals when they do make it to the NFL, 3 year professional sports. We're not going to limit this to the NFL. Professional sports, 3 years after they retire, they are broke. Doesn't matter what type of family you come from. If you do not understand financial literacy, you're going to be broke. So it doesn't matter about the sports agent and the financial planner getting in front of the microphone and telling you how you're going to invest this young person's money into all of these sophisticated financial investment tools, and they're never going to be broke, but they always be broke
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So talk to
because
me. Yeah. What is your process? So like, if someone reached out to you guys today and said, "Hey, I have a student athlete in the eighth grade," what is your process for working with those families?
we tell them to go to our site, athletesgetrecruitedfoundation.com, and sign the kid up for free. That process gives us all the information that we need to know. 2 or 3 emails immediately go out to the family, and at that point, when they do the process that we're asking them to do, then I personally contact them. It starts with me.
Okay.
And then I have 2 assistants when we're doing certain parts of the year. Between January and May is our busiest part of the year. That's when, as my grandmother used to say, the dirty low down truth hits. I'm
Why
not
is that? Tell us
Because
why.
that's when the reality kick in that my child may not be getting the opportunity to go to school.
What's going on in January that helps families understand that decision might be coming?
Well, that's the last signing day, the
Okay.
first week in February, and in January you already know if you're signing next month.
Okay. And
You've
what about
already got
May? What's the biggie about May?
graduation. You graduate. What I'm gonna do? So reality kicks in January.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I wish I would have listened, or I wish I would have known about you guys. No, what happens is we as parents think we know, and we don't understand that just because your kids are receiving letters from these colleges and universities, but no one has offered you a grant and aid to come and play sports for them. Those are just letters that they sent out to everybody.
Right.
That's not on offer.
Right, right. Okay. So we touched on it a little bit, but let's go back to it. When we talk about those players that may not be able to gain the wealth they expected by graduating college and getting drafted, what about the start? The seventh and the eighth graders, what are you all instilling in these parents and these athletes so they can understand and have access to financial literacy to prepare them for the reality of gaining wealth from getting drafted?
Good question. What we do with the seventh and eighth grade families, I'm going to say not just the student, but the whole family, is we help them to understand that the test scores that your child take in the seventh grade are normally the scores that are used to determine what courses you take in the ninth grade. Okay, because remember, you take those standardized tests at the end of the year of the eighth grade. It's not enough time for them to get them back and assess them and determine what you should take in the ninth grade. Now, with that being said, it's still important for the parent to understand that they may recommend general math, but you as a parent have the opportunity to sit down with the guidance counselor and sign a waiver and say, I want my child in Algebra 1. I want my child in Algebra 1 because I know what our plan is here. And we plan to go to college one way or the other. So whether you're going to participate in sports or whether you're going to get an academic scholarship or just be able to get in with financial aid, grants and loans or what have you, you still got to have the proper courses in order to make a decent score on the ACT or SAT. So regardless, we need you to take the proper courses so that you have a chance to do that.
Okay.
And that's what we educate them on. And we help them to understand also, along with that, we're saying to them, here are your courses that's required if he or she is participating in sports.
So
And we support them with that.
when you are talking to these families, these seventh and eighth grade families, I mean, I remember it wasn't too long ago that I was a seventh and eighth grade family member myself. I'm not thinking about their wealth in 20 years, right? So how have you been able to tie in the importance of taking the right course load and preparing to get your college paid for? How do you equate that to financial sustainability?
Well, you first have to, in conversation, find out what are the parents and kids' goals and objectives. It may be to go to college, it may be to play sports, it may be to play professional sports, whatever the case may be. Our platform is designed for that. You could just be a student who says, well, he participates in basketball now, but he's probably not going to play in high school. We don't think he's going to be good enough, but we want him to go to college. Okay, let's change the conversation then. Let's
Mhm.
talk about what does it take to go to college? Do you know? Do you know what it takes? I know what it took when for me, but do you know what it takes for your child? So now we need to curtail our conversation towards that. And that means the courses you need to take. That means the research need to be done about what is it you
Mhm.
want to do. Because
Mhm.
as you very well know, the young people get in college, change their major two or three times.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it's still a conversation,
Sure. Okay.
regardless.
So you're planting
That's
seeds. So
exactly.
if a ninth grade family is listening to, or eighth grade family is listening to this, what's the top takeaway that you want them to know before going into the ninth grade?
I need them to know that first of all, there is something called the NCAA,
Okay.
and they regulate you going to college. You could actually Google and go on their website, and they will even have the course requirements that your child will have to have by the time their senior year comes, and the fact of what the GPA needs to be with the core courses. I need them to understand that if they're in the ninth grade, they need to sign up with the NCAA. It costs $110, and no, the AAU coach didn't do it. No, the high school coach didn't do it. No, I think I've heard it all.
Yeah.
If you do the reason you will know if you spend $110. That's number one as a parent.
Okay.
Number two, you get a pin, and that pin number you will know. The coach, the guidance counselor, nobody's gonna sign your kid up because they don't know your child's social security number.
Okay. Got it.
And they're
Okay.
not authorized to do that. So I need them to know that they need to sign up. I need them to know that if their child is not taking, and I use math because that's been the hang up. If your child has not taken Algebra 1 since you said a ninth grader isn't taking Algebra 1 and they're in the ninth grade, that means next year you got to take Algebra 1, Geometry the junior year, and Algebra 2 the senior year, unless you're on the block system. If you're on the block system, it's different. But the bottom line is you've got to have those three in order to receive a Division I scholarship.
So is that Division one, two, and three, or just Division one?
Division I.
Okay.
Division II, you could actually get away with two maths.
Okay. Okay. And what about D3?
D3 have you still have to see D3 is not a scholarship. So now you're dealing with getting accepted to the
Got
school.
it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Got it. Okay. So we're in college. There's this thing called NIL. What is NIL? And how do students get prepared and participate in this NIL program?
Well, first of all, NIL is an acronym for name, image, likeness. Okay. However, it's so much misunderstanding about NIL. But good question. Getting prepared for NIL means your social media pages. You have to learn how to brand yourself because if I'm a corporation and you are expecting to receive NIL money, then my corporation want to align itself with good character. And the things that you have posted in the past, you can't just copy and repost stuff because you like it or it's funny or whatever, or think that it's a repost. No, you don't. Certain things you just don't post because it doesn't align with a lot of corporations, align with what they're trying to accomplish in their brand. So you have to learn to create a brand. So one of the things we do is help you with your appearance. See, we do things a little different from most people. You can't just force society to accept things because you say it's in your culture. Some things you're just doing because you're a follower. And we teach you to be a leader. So, but we don't discourage anything, but we teach you to be a leader. If you're going to wear dreads, let it be your decision because this is what you want to do and you know how to deal with it and do that. We deal with it all. I'm gonna just say we deal with it all. We don't discourage anything. We just want young people to be productive.
Okay. So you help me with my branding and my image in the community and my appearance and my grooming and all of that. So I'm in the ninth grade preparing for college. And so this is what I'm doing. But now I'm in college and there are organizations that are reaching out to me saying, hey, we want you to promote our product. Is that all NIL is promoting a product and getting money from it?
Yes, I wouldn't. Here's the thing. You also, a lot of people confuse NIL with a lot of the college collectives. Back here in April, there were a lot of changes to NIL and the NCAA. Now they have a system. They're getting away from pay for play. So what they're doing now is they're saying certain deals over a certain dollar amount has to be approved through the NCAA because they want to make sure that what they're paying you for what you're doing is valued at that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a real estate background, so I'm gonna just say it's similar to doing an appraisal or a market analysis to determine, okay, we're paying you $750,000, but it may be 100 other kids out here doing the same thing and they're only getting 50,000. Then that's not gonna
Somebody's
work.
is regulating it.
Yeah, so they're beginning to regulate it.
Okay, so NIL, name, image, likeness, and you student athletes can go and try to drum up their own branding deals with vendors, or like how does that work? Do
They
they
can
have?
do that, but they also have people such as myself that's certified. They also have attorneys that's doing it. It just depends on what level and what state regulations are.
Got it. Okay. Okay. And so, if this going back to our ninth grader example, so our ninth grader is now a freshman in college, doing very well, and they have notable brands and retailers reaching out to them. What should they do?
They should actually get representation at that point.
Um, is that a law firm? Is that like representation?
Doesn't necessarily have to be a law firm. Like I say, it's something that I do as well. But they need representation because they don't understand contracts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they need representation at that point.
Okay. So we haven't talked at all about the transfer portal, and I think that's really important. My family has experienced the transfer portal a few times, so I'd love for you to share with the audience what the transfer portal is and some do's and don'ts.
Well, the transfer portal. Let me give you a little backdrop. In the past, for years, if you sign a letter, if you sign a grant aid and went to a particular college and you got there and you decided a year later or 2 years later, hey, I don't think I'm going to play, or I don't like the school, I don't like the coaches, whatever the case may be. Coaches has transferred in, my position coach changed too many times. I'm going to leave and transfer. Well, if you left and transferred and you left one division, one school to go to another, you had to sit out a year.
Okay.
So you would in fact lose a year of eligibility.
Okay.
Sometimes that deterred a lot of players from transfer.
Right. Makes sense.
So as the NCAA changed moving forward, they created the transfer portal. The transfer portal, just like NIL, is a pretty much the transfer portal is a little older than NIL, but only a few years older.
Okay.
So they have gradually made changes since its inception, just like they're making changes with NIL. But that transfer portal allows you to decide to transfer. Now, well, we're going to say it allows you to get in the transfer portal.
Okay.
Getting out of the portal is a whole nother situation.
Okay.
There are probably 16,000 kids in the transfer portal as we speak.
Wow.
That left the schools they were at last year, and no one has picked them up. So that's the truth about the transfer portal, the things that most parents don't know, and they have their kids making these decisions.
Mhm.
Now you go from you were getting some money at a school, you got an apartment, you went out and purchased a car, you got credit cards, you living a full life. And you decide to get in the transfer portal, not understanding that most people that have transferred from Division One to another Division One, there probably was a deal cut under the table. It probably was a school that was recruiting you out of high school that have someone have reached out and you feel that they're still interested in you. So you see a kid, he transferred from one school from Georgia to Clemson, but that was a deal already done. So you get in the transfer portal, you get stuck. Once you get stuck, you may end up leaving Georgia and having to go to a small school because no one is offering you at that level anymore. So those are some of the things parents need to know about the transfer portal. It's not always a good thing. Sometimes you need to stay where you are, work hard, tough it out, and get the thing that you went there for anyway. Get your degree.
Hmm. Do you still consult and coach on transfer portal
Yes,
for
that's a
families?
part of our. That's a part of what we do with athletes get recruited. We when we get our hands on a kid, we keep them for life.
Good.
We keep them for life. We never throw them away. They can always call us for anything at any time, and we're gonna be there for them.
Yes.
Most of the time, is always I've noticed there's a period between freshman year in college and junior year in college. I call that's normally a dead spot for us. Normally, our kids resurface about their junior year and call one of us and start back talking to us because either the NFL is not coming their way or there are other life decisions that they just want to talk with someone they're comfortable with or they know you're going to tell them the truth,
Yeah.
whether they like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. That's that. Hey, God, y'all, that's what he does. If you like it or not, he's going to tell you. We have greatly benefited from those conversations over the years. Just to share for you guys that don't know, Marcellus decided his junior year that he wanted to play D1 football, and he put in a lot of work to prepare for that, and we did not see the offers that we expected to see. And so we were introduced to Coach Roy, who took Marcellus under his wing personally and helped with every aspect of what we talked about today: his brand, his presentation, his mental, his rigor. That yielded Marcellus, I think, 18 or 19 offers. He currently plays defensive end for Hampton in Virginia, and we couldn't be more proud of him. But we were the parents that thought we knew everything. We were the parents who had a plan. I had spreadsheets and documentation, and I had a plan, and I didn't even know the game I was playing. So I did not have a plan, but I had Coach Roy. And so personally, I know the effort and the results that Athletes Get Recruited Foundation will yield your families. And with that said, I'll turn it over back to Coach Roy to wrap us up. Coach Roy, what do you want most for our listeners to take away from our conversation today?
First and foremost, I want them to understand that going to school is a business, and especially if you're planning on going to school free. And one of the reasons I felt it very important to do this interview with Miss Fatima, well, Coach Fatima Nash, is because we ended up having a conversation, but she didn't realize the moment she told me she was going to start her business with Focal Point, she was coming right back into my ecosystem. And here's the reason why. Because our goal, and I know I'm going a little away from what you asked me, Fatima, but our
I'm
goal,
used to it.
again, is to make young people productive citizens, create business owners, create entrepreneurs, okay? Because I've been an entrepreneur all my life. That's the only thing I know, okay? I even wrote several books about it. However, what Fatima is doing now, think about this. From the eighth grade till the time they graduate from college, I got them. But by the time they graduate from college, between their formal education and the one I give them, then I turn them over to coaching. Why? Because at some point, whether they go to corporate America and work 4 or 5 years, they're going to want to start what? A consulting firm. They're going to want to do something in their field. Well, most people at that point, they think they know everything and they don't know nothing. Trust me, they don't. They don't have a clue about entrepreneurship because everything about entrepreneurship you can't put in a book. So now I feel comfortable that I can turn them over to coach because she has the experience, she has the understanding, and more importantly, like she said when I first met her, had she known a little more about the insides of recruiting, she would have been perfect because she did have it organized and she's a great organizer. So therefore, she would be able to take these young people and say, hey, this is the process to entrepreneurship from setting up your corporation to introducing you to, let's say, infinite banking to setting up your trust, the whole 9 yards.
That's right.
Coach Nash can handle that for them.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a perfect relationship for what we do in help taking these young people into the next generation, into the future.
Sustainability, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
I didn't pay him, guys, to say all that. That was not a part of our conversation. I don't know where that came from, but he's true. It's
no,
right.
it's true though. It's true because I've been doing it for a long time, and I got to pass the torch to somebody. This is something you got to want to do.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of times money isn't in it. Just like when athletes get recruited. I've never made a dime from this, and I've been doing it since 2007. But I won't quit. No matter what I do, athletes get recruited, or what I do in terms of that will always be a part of my life. That's what makes me feel good. This is my feel good space.
That's right.
And so, but however, the biggest takeaway I want you guys to understand, again, we're 501c3. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on TikTok. We have a functional website where you can make donations and you can pay $7 for the raffle. So just know that we're out here, we need support, and we're not limited to South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Virginia. We really will deal with you anywhere in the United States. And remember, our site is free, and we don't care if you're a 5-star or a no star. If you're interested in playing college sports, we can get you in school for free.
If you put in the work and you follow the rules.
Absolutely. And put in the work, it doesn't always mean, because they use that cliche a lot of times with sports. I'm not talking about from the sports perspective. I'm talking about from the academic perspective. If you put in the work for the academic perspective, this is why you could play college sport. Head coaches has to keep a certain GPA. So they can take one for the team and bring the academic kid on the team to help the team's GPA. Always remember that.
Yes. Yes. Good call, Coach Roy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining this sustainability web series that I've been hosting. It has been such a pleasure to speak with leaders in the community such as yourself. And I know this is not the last time my audience will see us together. So I appreciate you and thank you very much for your time. You guys heard it. Sustainability starts with the youth. Please, please, please check out his website and be prepared to donate at least $7 for the raffle. And I will see you on the next webinar series. Thank you. See y'all.
Okay. See you, everyone.